Hey folks, welcome back to the Cotswold Collectibles YouTube channel. I am Greg Brown, president of Cotswold Collectibles. Today we're going to be continuing our series of vintage bodies from G.I. Joe, Action Man, Guyver Man, Falcon, etc. This week in particular, we're going to be talking about the 12-inch vintage figures that were coming out of South America. So I'll let it go over to Ace and he can tell you about it.
Okay, so I think the lesson we have here about South America is they're very fragile figures. And they tend to not hold up very well, but you can find them complete. And I apologize. These are some of my extra figures that I'm kind of trying to get repaired and pieced together. And they're so fragile. I don't like undressing them. I actually undressed this figure and had to be very, very careful. So I'm trying to show you guys how to look for these figures and see them. Now, again, I want to point this out right away. I am learning about all these worldwide figures. So if you know some information that I don't know, or if I've got something wrong, I love to learn. So don't be afraid to share that with us in the comments below, or tell me the next time you see me. Just don't hit me. Anyway, what we've got here is we've got some South American figures, and I'm starting off on the right with some Argentinian figures. And I really like these guys. They've got some really interesting uniform sets that come with them, and some really kind of fun looking figures. You'll notice that this guy on the far right kind of has the Amish look going on with the lower beard but no mustache.
No mustache.
And I just think this is really cool. However, you will notice that unlike the muscle bodies in the United States, these feet don't hold on very good, and the feet and the arms really break. Now, I have not sent these off to be repaired. I know my friend Scott will curse me when I send them to him because they're so fragile, but the legs tend to really be very fragile, and the feet tend to fall off. In fact, I know I've got some of my nicer figures that the feet have just fallen off, and what do you do? Fortunately, with a stand, you can kind of rig them up so that they're at least standing there. Now, you'll notice we have kind of two different body styles. One's a little more flesh colored, one's a little more pink. I don't know, to be honest with you. I assume that they're just different mold runs. What I find very interesting about the Argentinian figures is if you look at the skivvies, they actually have you can tell they were copied off the American because they still have the AT
on the buckle.
It's just not as sharp as they were. And so that's they're interesting. Now in Argentina, they also used a lot of the Defender bodies, and we'll do a whole talk on Defenders and all that stuff at a later time. But a lot of the Argentinian run used those really terrible blow molded Defenders figures with that kind of a head style as well.
Yeah, because this plastic here looks like that real cheapy blow mold kind of knockoff plastic.
Yeah, you can definitely. I mean, even looking through this leg right here, you can see through the light.
Through the leg.
It's just they're very poorly quality in comparison to the United States, or even in comparison to the Brazilian figures. And I'm going to just go ahead and shift over to the Brazilian figures, because Falcon made an awesome line of figures. They really made the best quality stuff in South America.
Hands down.
And hands down, it is hard to find. I mean, Argentina is hard to find, but Brazil is incredibly difficult to find. Now, they actually made their first figure was a fuzz head, much like the 75 US figure. The interesting about it is on its lower back, it actually is marked Falcon with the Estrella logo. And what I also really like is they have in their skivvies, in the pants, they have their CA, which I don't exactly know what
it's like Commandos de Acción.
Exactly.
Something like that.
My Spanish or my Portuguese is horrible, so I don't want to hack it. But the bummer about these Brazilian figures is they too just fall apart, and I mean, and that little foot will that rubber just goes. And they're great figures, but they've got to be repaired.
So they're even worse off than the Adventure Team ones, because at least the Adventure Team ones, the legs stay on. These, it just looks like every single joint was
fell apart. Right, and I don't know what to do about it. I like I said, our good friend Mr. Wilde is going to curse me at some point.
You're going to get a package,
right? And but here next to him is an eagle eye figure, and I do not think this has been repaired. I think this is a original figure. You'll notice it's got the really cool eagle eyes with a slightly different head sculpt. You know. It's interesting. It's neat. It's a great figure, and this is one of the later issued ones I know that they made. And I'm also just going to say this one more time: the Falcon equipment is unique. It's different. It's the same but different. They have a lot of the same molds and stuff, but with different colors and different spins on stuff. And I think they did just a fabulous.
Well, they went with this futuristic line that was very much, I would say, like an homage to Super Joe, but in 1/6 scale. But I mean, you had. You had Condor, and then you had I forget Torak.
Yeah.
They were both fighting with each other, and then you had all these other different ones like the Shield and such like that. So yeah, they like how with Action Man they went off and kind of did their modern British military series. These guys really went off and did their own thing and created their own identity with their Falcon line.
Absolutely. They did this. They did the military spy stuff, but they also did this really great, like this futuristic stuff.
The futuristic stuff was phenomenal.
But man, we've got this really high quality figure right here. As you can tell, is like the best of the manufacturing. And this is from Uruguay. And I believe their brand was Halcon, I believe. And anyway, but this is a really pretty lame looking figure. But what's interesting is I have a couple of packaged ones of these that have G.I. Joe style and many knockoff style accessories. Yeah, they really, and I'll be honest with you, I don't 100% know if this was a truly licensed product. I know these were licensed, but I'm not 100% sure about this. I just know it's a 12-inch, it's from Uruguay, and it's along the same line.
And the head sculpt, I don't know if we talked about this. Did we discuss that the head sculpt looked like it was a knockoff of a Best of the West?
Yeah, it almost like the James West kind of head.
Yeah,
it kind of has that Best of the West look to it.
Yeah.
But again, they were the king of the knockoffs. And if you look at some of their accessories, they knock off Best of the West accessories.
Right. That's a weird one. All right, folks. Well, that wraps up the video this week dealing with South America. Next week, we're going to continue the series, but we're going to be talking about Mexico. So we felt that it was so distinct that we wanted to give it its own time as well. So in the meantime, make sure that you like and subscribe, and we'll check again with you next week.